All right, this is Mike Rabble with Rabble Rouser Media. I am here to talk to you about something that's weighing very heavily on my mind and my heart as far as what's going on in the news cycle over the last month or so with the Uvalde shooting. How does something like this happen? You know, Here behind me, you have a picture of a bunch of police officers staying outside, and from eyewitnesses and what's going around in the news. You have these police officers waiting outside for over an hour, you know, while kids were getting murdered. It's infuriating. It pisses me off. I think that it would. I think it pisses America off. I think it. You know. So how did we get here? How did this Uvalde shooting happen? You're going to have some people on the left. They're going to sit there and say, "Well, it's the gun's fault." And then they're going to have some people saying that it was a, broken home that the child was living in. Some people that are going to sit there and say it's a mental health issue, or guns issue. All right. Just despite all that. All right. What comes to mind is as far as the main reason as to why something like this would happen. Look at everything that's been in the news lately. All right, look at everything that's been going on over the last 2 years. We've had, protests. We've had, you know, the CHOP or the Chaz zone over in Washington State. All right, we had all this kind of stuff that's going on. Where you have Antifa that are being bailed out by Kamala Harris and other people in the Biden administration. All right. And you have this anti cop rhetoric going around. You have BLM, basically championing the defund the police movement. All right. What do you think is going to happen when you demoralize the good police? What do you think is going to happen when, you sit there, and try, look, and I'm not sitting here saying that all police officers are the most upstanding people. I 100% agree. They should be, they should be held accountable. All right. And trust, I've had my own interactions with police officers, some good, some bad. That's just the honest truth. Some of it has been my fault. I mean, there's just no getting around that. As far as an interaction with police officers, it weighs very heavily on the person and the officer too. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of police officers that are out there power tripping. There's a lot of police officers that, try to cover up their mistakes. There's a lot of police officers that, try to, that are dishonest. There are a lot of police officers who are, who are, corrupt. All right. But I don't like to think that that is the majority of police officers. And it is my opinion that when you have the situation in Uvalde is a direct result of this kind of rhetoric that has been going around for the last 2 years. Because the police officers have been demoralized, and and you have a lot of police officers that are just quitting. All right. The people that joined the force to do the job because they loved law enforcement and they wanted to help the community, have been told that they don't matter, and have been told that, that it's not a respectable job anymore, that you are now public enemy number one. All right. How do you expect a police officer to go out there and do his job? All right. When he has to have a constant fear of being torched by the media. All right. And if the police departments weren't demoralized and you didn't have the good police officers leaving, all right, you wouldn't have this, because a good police officer is going to get in there and do whatever the heck he can. Do whatever the heck he can in order to save those kids. All right. So who are the ones that are left when you demoralize, the the police officers of the United States, and you lift up some of these criminals, like George Floyd, you know, you know, this is the kind of thing that happens because they're going into a very intense situation. And you know what they're probably thinking? Man, if we get this wrong, we're going to be fried, by the media, the left and the people like Antifa. So you have these police officers who are going into this very intense situation. All right. And then you have, everything running through their mind, if we get this wrong, if we go in there and we get this wrong, we're going to be doxxed, by cancel culture and by the media. We'll be smeared. Our lives will be ruined. All right. If we make one wrong move. All right. So, but then if they go in and kids get killed, oh, you know what? If they would have waited, those children wouldn't have died because they didn't handle the situation correctly. He wasn't doing anything at the time. There was no evidence that he was doing anything, until the police officers went in and did something, until they provoked him to do something. That could have been very easily the headlines that would have gone, that could have happened, that would have been published all over the mainstream media and everything. And you have, your Antifa types and your leftist types and your cancel culture that will absolutely dox these officers. And then they got to deal with, all this kind of stuff, for their personal lives. So when you, and in the process, of being doxxed and being scrutinized, all these officers have been demoralized. So who all the good ones quit. They said, you know what, I'm retiring. And all the people that probably would have loved to be a police officer said, you know what, I don't want to be a police officer. And the other ones, who's left? Who is left? Who's left? The people who are left are the ones that are just there to collect a paycheck and maybe get off on the power, or maybe they're, collecting bribes on the side. Those are the ones who are left. The good ones don't want to be a part of, an institution where they're scrutinized and to where they're demoralized and they're made public enemy number one. So this is why things like Uvalde happen, because they know that if they're say frankly, they're darned if they do, and they're darned if they don't. All right. If they would have went in there and those kids would have got hurt, they would have said they acted, they didn't act, they acted too soon. So what'd they do? They did the one to save their own butt. Police officers have split-second decisions to make. And by all means, an hour is not a split-second decision. They should have went in immediately when they knew it happened, no matter what the consequences, in order to save the lives that they could. And it pisses me off that these officers would sit there and do something like that. Do you know what makes me think that this is why this was the situation? Why that these officers didn't go in? Because of fear of public scrutiny, and they just wanted to save their own butts. They Man, I'm going to be collecting a pension. I just need to keep my head down. I don't need this right now. You know, I need to come home safe. I need to come home to my family. I mean, if these were good officers and these are the ones that wanted to be there and dedicate their lives to serve and protect, all right, it wouldn't be. If it was like we had those ones, like the border patrol officer that came from the barber shop and grabbed his barber's shotgun to go in there and do their job. All right, heroes like that. All right. And the reason why I believe this is because of stuff like this. Because look what happened immediately after all of this. Look what happened. All right. This is what happened. A mother who ran into Robb Elementary School to rescue her two children during a mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas, last week. Well, obviously, this article is from the 22nd, so I'm, so it's been a little bit. Let's see, when was this article? 6/4. All right, so this article is a little old, but it's relevant. All right. As to why I think this way. All right. Let's look at this. Look at what happened to this mother. All right. All right. So she went in to rescue her children during a mass shooting, and says that police threatened to violate her probation for speaking out about the incident to reporters. They used their power to get her to shut her mouth. That right there is an abuse of power. That right there tells me that these weren't good police officers. They're only worried about their paycheck. They're only worried about their ass, and weren't. I apologize for that. I try not to cuss. They're only worried about their butts. All right. They're only worried about just collecting their paycheck. That's the only thing they're worried about. And they're worried about going home to their own family. Well, it's like, if we get this wrong, we might be dead, and we might be smeared in the media. So if we're darned if we do and we're darned if we don't, we might as well just be alive. This is what happens when you demoralize your police officers. And like I said, I have not always had the best interactions with police officers, but you know what? I was always respectful in all the encounters that I've ever had. And from what, I remember, except for an incident that happened when I was in my teenage years, which maybe I'll talk about it later. But there was one incident where it was, it was definitely the police officer was out of line. And yeah, I'll talk about that a different day. But so Angeli Gomez told CBS News on Thursday that she was forced to rush into the school after watching police fail to quickly respond to the deadly shooting. A total of 19 students and 2 teachers were killed when 18-year-old gunman, I'm not even going to say his name, entered the school and opened fire. After speaking critically about the incident to the media outlets, Gomez said an officer threatened to charge her for violating probation on an unrelated charge for obstruction of justice. However, she added that she spoke to a local judge who assured her that she was brave and that she would not face legal repercussions for sharing her story. All right, so she had to go to a judge, or at least a judge had to reach out to her and saying that what these officers were threatening her with were unlawful. You don't have a right to speak your mind and to, use your voice as according to the First Amendment of the United States. All right, what country are we living in? All right, it's police officers like this that are left in Uvalde, that are left in New York, that are left in Chicago, all the good ones left, and I know at least one or two, who said that I'm not doing it. A friend of the family, he decided that, what, I'm going to go be a fireman, like my dad. You know, uh, you know, I don't want to be a police officer anymore. So which ones do you think you're going to have left? The ones that are going to follow orders no matter what to collect that paycheck, and they'll be more than happy to put that boot on your neck when they're violating every single one of your rights. All right. And it just really makes me mad. This is the kind of stuff that happens when we do this. All right. By all means, when cops do something wrong, we need to hold them accountable. All right. But when they do something right, we also have to praise them for that. And we shouldn't be demoralizing our police, let alone trying to defund them. If anything, they need more funding, need more money as far as training, education. You when you put on that uniform, you have the potential, especially if you're living in Chicago and New York. Chicago, they don't call it Chirac for nothing. You might as well be going into a combat zone. And you wonder why these police officers have a record rates of suicide. They might as well be in the military. They're going in there doing his job. They're on high tensions where you have gangbangers there shooting at them. And then the police officers are getting scrutinized. And you have some of these prosecutors like Kim Fox in Chicago who are, letting these criminals go. I mean, this is just insanity. I kind of hate to say it, but, it makes me kind of believe that, with everything that's going on, get supply chain shortages, gas shortages, you got formula shortages, you have all this stuff going on. You have a lot of political tensions that are coming to a head. And you're trying to tell me that, we don't have a civil war coming in the future. Remember, it wasn't just like, okay, we're at civil war, that one shot at Fort Sumter. There was an entire buildup of things that happened before all that. I think before Fort Sumter, it was like 11 or 12 years ago. That's when they basically, I want to say they hung John Brown. All right. Who was a abolitionist and, basically didn't want to take it anymore and just went on the warpath. All right. Right now, our laws in the United States are not being enforced fairly. The political establishment is, if you're on the left, you have them getting bailed out, but you have somebody on the right. I'm not talking about the far right. I'm not talking about white supremacists or anything like that. I'm talking about the people that used to be in the middle until everybody on the left went nuts. And now basically everybody who doesn't, conform to, trying to have drag queen story hour, at their preschool, you're bigoted, Everybody has been basically pushed to the right because the left has gone so far left. All right. And if you don't understand left and right, I'll probably do a video on that sometime too. It just makes me sick that this kind of stuff happens in the country that I love. And you know what? I'm here doing this so that way that I can try to make a difference in people's lives. All right. I'm trying to, at least try to hold some of these news organizations accountable for their lies that they spit out every day. I'm trying to, put my money and my time, where my mouth is. I will be on here. I will, keep doing this. I will keep getting better, to bring you the best, most accurate news in the United States and in the world. If I have the ability to have that kind of integrity that I can do this kind of stuff, then damn it, I'm going to try. So if you could please, this is all good. This is all grassroots, hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to my channel. So that way we can, get Rabble Rouser Media, known worldwide, and we can start, putting people like the New York Post, the Times, Washington Post, and all these other CNN, and all these other fake news outlets that spew hate, that are basically unchecked in the amount of lies that they sit there and spit. You know, help me put them on notice. Let's put them on notice so that way we can start getting the real news out there. And as I progress, you know what? There's gonna be a lot of exciting things coming. I got a lot of stuff planned. Is it gonna take some time? Yeah, it is. But you know what? I'm not gonna stop. And you know what? Sorry about my phone going off, but you know what? I'm not gonna stop. So if you want to help out, the best thing you can do is hit the like button, let the YouTube algorithm know that you want to see my content, that you like to, hear accurate news. And I try to be as unbiased as possible. Obviously, I'm biased. All right, I have everybody's biased, but at least I can maybe recognize that. I can see that I'm biased in certain areas, and I'm willing to address that. And I'm willing to have open conversations, and be able to maybe, check that, to have a conversation to where I'm actually talking to people instead of just talking past them. But just like, share, subscribe if you want to help me out and get this thing going global. All right. By the end of next year, I would love to have at least 10,000 subscribers. All right. So thank you in advance for hitting that like button, sharing, and subscribing. And I will talk to you later. All right.